What's up, y'all? I pray that y'all can hear me. Hey, Visha. Hey, Miss Allen. I am doing all right this morning. I'm blessed. Blessed to be in the land of the living. It's a little bit windy out here. It's not too cold. Got a jacket on, of course, but today was one of those days where it's probably been a while since I have walked in actually inside of the park. Usually I'm over there near those homes. Um, it's been a while since I walked, but today I felt like it was that day where I just needed to actually walk into the park. In fact, the Lord told me, go inside the park today. And so I did. I pray that you guys can hear me. Hold on one second, you guys. Hopefully, okay. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Happy Friday to y'all. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Ask God for what you want. Come on. That's our declaration. Ask the Lord for what you want. Today has been a very vulnerable day. I was supposed to go to the dentist office, and then this morning I woke up and I was praying. I'm like, God, it just don't feel like it's the right timing, and so I'm not going. Yeah, I'm like, you just know when God is saying don't do something, and so I just felt like, okay, God, I hear you. I don't understand why you telling me not to go today, but I ain't going. I ain't going. And so I woke up this morning, sent off some documents to my loan officer. And I put on some worship music, and it was early, maybe like 5 a.m. when I'm doing this. And I just began to just pray, right? I knew that it was one specific thing that she asked me for that I'm like, God, I can't give that to her right now, because I don't have the money in that account. You told me to tell her $1,000, and it's not in that account right now. So right now, I said, okay, God, I'll just be patient. And I knew that was a need, right? Hold on one second. Hey, Sabrina. I knew that was like a need. I knew it was a need. And so I put on some worship music, and I just began to, walk around my house, and I began to just pray. Began to pray, of course, in my natural voice. And then the spirit hit me, and I just began to just flow in tongues. And as I was praying, I knew what I was saying. There are moments where you know exactly what you're saying when you're praying in tongues. And I knew what I was asking God for was exactly for what I needed. And so I just prayed, and I just put a praise on it, right? Because that's the thing to do, right? And I believe that there are some of y'all here right now where, you got right now needs. And honestly, some of y'all have danced around asking God for exactly what it is that you need. You've danced around it because right, the moments where you've been totally transparent with people. How many people know that sometimes people let you down, and exactly what you ask them for, sometimes they give you a hard time. That, listen, they want to know all the ins and outs of why you want what you want. They just make it a struggle. And sometimes people, listen, they don't even give you what you want. They make you settle, right, for what they can give you. And so a lot of times it translates, and it makes us timid. When you go through that enough times, it makes you really, 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 really timid of asking people anymore. And so that timidity shows up in our prayer time, right? And so a lot of times what happens is we just feel like, well, God, since you already know what I need, I'm going to just dance around it. I'm going to say enough to let you know what I need, just in case I get rejected, just in case it doesn't happen, right? But today was one of those days where I asked God. It started there. I asked God for exactly the amount of money that I needed. And I just kept going. And so as I was getting prepared, I was feeling good, right? As I was getting prepared, right, to get dressed and get out the house, because I knew that God wanted me to like get out of the house. My dog had a little tumble. Bella had a little tumble. I thought she was walking better today, and she was, but she had a little tumble, and it just made my heart cry. Anybody ever been in a situation or dealing with a circumstance where you like, God, I know what you're saying, but like, I'm looking at this thing right now and it just don't look, my heart just got grieved. Anybody ever looked at a situation and even though you know what God is saying about that situation, you just get grieved in your spirit. You just literally get grieved. And I knew that God wanted me to talk about asking him for what you really want. And so, hey, Pastor Runner, so when I came here inside of this park, right, and I just began to just talk, right, I kind of was like many of us, like many of y'all, kind of dance around the issue because you don't want to sound like you complaining. You don't want to sound like, right, you don't want to sound desperate. You just don't want, and sometimes you just want to avoid the emotional response that comes with being transparent and vulnerable. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes, in prayer, it ain't that you don't want to tell God what the issue is, but a lot of times we be avoiding the emotion. God, I don't want to cry no more. I don't really want to deal with it, but I need you to deal with it. But I don't want to admit what it is that I'm dealing with because you automatically know this going to make me cry. This going to make me sad. This going to bring out the bitterness that I've been holding in. I don't want to really be as vulnerable. So as I'm out here, I'm talking to God, and it's just like once I started talking, it just came out. I said, Lord, I'm mad at myself. I ain't even mad at you. Right? It was the first time where I said, God, even though the vets say, that it don't have nothing to do with me, it's not about how well I've taken care of my dog. Like, God, hey, Mrs. James, God, I blame me. Anybody ever blamed yourself for something that you went through, even though God, it ain't my fault what happened in this circumstance. It ain't my fault what happened, but I still blame myself because you feel like there should have been more that I could have done. You start feeling like, God, there really could have been. I should have done more. So this is me walking, just talking to God. And I mean, at this point, tears are just flowing down my face because I'm like, God, this is a situation where I don't know what to do. I've done all I can do. The vets have done all they can do. God, I'm frustrated that I can't find the right vet. And every single time I think I found one, something happens with the appointment where I am literally not able to go. They cannot see me when I was just flustered. So what I was doing was getting out all of the hidden emotions, the emotions that you avoid trying to feel, the raw truth that you really don't want to admit because you're afraid of how your raw truth is going to come out to God. You like, God, I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful. I don't want to seem like I'm bitter. I don't want to seem like any of this. And for once I admitted, God, I have started to lose hope. Whew. Well, let that hit and let that sink in. God, I've started to lose hope and I ain't trying to lose hope. But I don't know what else to do. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to believe you. But God, look at what it looked like right now. Something shifted as I was just letting those raw emotions out. And I said, but Lord, I'm also flustered because I know that you're a healer, but I'm not seeing the evidence of your healing power in my life right now. How many of y'all feel the way, God, I know you're a provider, but I'm not seeing the evidence and it frustrates me. It flusters me because I don't understand why I'm not seeing the evidence of who I know you are. We all have been there. God, I know you can restore my marriage, but I ain't seeing the evidence. Whew. God, I know that you're a way maker, but why am I not seeing the evidence that you are a way maker? God, I know your word says you see and you hear me, but why do I feel like you don't see me, like I'm unheard? So as I'm telling God all of these things, right, the real thing of what he wanted, it came out. God, even though I feel that way, even though I'm a little bit stressed, I'm a little bit concerned, my heart is grieving just a little bit. Lord, you gave this to me to steward, so I give it back to you. And I ask that your will, that your will goes forth. God, I ask that where I can't, that you step in. And then it shifted over into praise. God is giving strategy. Because you see, some of you guys have been dancing around asking God for exactly what it is that you need. Because you have not wanted to be vulnerable. You have not wanted to admit the anger that you feel, the bitterness that you feel, the fear that you feel, the hopelessness that you feel. So what happens is you struggle throughout the day. You may start your day, right? Filled with joy, filled with hope. But then you have that little moment in the day where you listen, them emotions start coming out. But what happens a lot of times is we push it under the rug because it's too painful to feel how I really feel. Whew. So after I got done praying and talking to God, he said, why don't you tell them to ask me for what they really want? Ask me for what they really want. He said some of them are dancing around it because they're afraid of me rejecting the answer to their prayer. Some of them are dancing around it because of fear of vulnerability. But the Lord says, tell them what I really need in this moment. I need that vulnerability. Because as long as it lingers, as long as it is covered, as long as that layer remains hidden from me, there are certain things that I cannot do in their life. There are certain places that their faith will never be able to take them to. If they keep it hidden, there are certain miracles that even though they want this miracle, because they have not been vulnerable, they have not kept it real, they have not been honest about where they really are emotionally. Yeah, you put on the front because you feel like you have to. Some of y'all even put on the front to yourself. But when's the last time you just let God have it? And I don't mean like snapping on him in that way, but when's the last time you just let him have the things that you are holding on to? When's the last time you just let him, come on, hear exactly how you feel? Instead of feeling broken, condemned, I felt free. To some of y'all, God is saying, will the real you stand up? Will the real you stand up? Blessings, Kari. Will the real you stand up? Will the real you stand up? For many of us, we're dealing with things that you just know, God, I've done all I can do. Like, to the world, there's nothing else I can do in this situation. But the Lord says, will the real you stand up? The real you. All the hidden layers and all. Will the real you stand up? Because that's where freedom is. That's where the miracle is. That's where breakthrough is. That's where your faith, come on, can arise again in that place. But I told God, I said, Lord, I admitted to, hiding things or pulling things under the rug. Say, God, I just been trying to just make it through each day, still do my assignment and just not worry about it. And really what I was saying is, God, I really been holding in how I feel because I'm just trying to get by in life. I'm just trying to get through every single day. I'm just trying to do all the other things that anybody ever felt that way. Like, God, this is why I'm really not vulnerable, because I feel like if I'm vulnerable, it's going to affect my level of productivity. It's going to start affecting my obedience. It's going to start affecting my faith, when in fact it does the exact opposite. It does the exact opposite. And honestly, what you really need from God is honestly a lot of times not even what you think. Thank you for those awards, brother. A lot of times, right? The thing that you feel you need, when you really get to the root, it's just the surface need. The real need of what I needed. After all that stuff I've told God this morning, the real thing I needed was what was peace. Come on. You're right. You preaching, Mrs. James. The real thing that I needed is, God, I need peace. I need this pressure off of me. I need the pressure off of me. I need your grace. I need your mercy. I need some favor, God. That was the real thing. I need strength, Lord. because I understood you're stretching my faith, and that's all right. But if I'm gonna be able to make it out of this, there's some things I need, and it ain't for you to come on. It ain't for you to make this issue go away real quickly. That's really what a lot of times we be wanting. God, if you make this issue go away really quickly, come on. If you could just make it go away. If you could just give me the money I need, God. If you could just restore the marriage, God. If you could just, bring me into a place where I ain't single no more, I would be fine. We all have felt that way. God, if you would just, open the door for living arrangements, I would be good. The real thing that we really need is not to get out of the struggle. The real thing that we need is grace to make it through, strength to make it through. I'll say it again. The real thing that you need is not for God to eliminate the struggle, because the struggle is always going to be there. It's going to be some type of struggle on any level that you go to. Don't matter how blessed you are, there's always going to be something else that stretches you. That is life. That is who our God is. He's a progressive Father. Oh, come on. And I believe that really, for a lot of us, what God is really maturing is our faith. But he's maturing our faith by exposing our fears. My fear was a fear of rejection. Fear of rejection, fear of worst case scenario. Fear of my prayer not getting answered the way that I want it to be answered. Some of y'all have that same fear. God, I don't think you're going to answer this prayer. And if you do answer it, I just think that it's going to be worst case scenario, that I'm not going to like the outcome, that it's going to leave me brokenhearted, that it's going to leave me, feeling like I can't no more. When you think about it, when's the last time God has ever done that? I'll wait. When's the last time? When's the last time? Now, I ain't saying that it's been easy, that it has not, that you have not been without your stumbles and your falls, but really, when's the last time? When's the last time God left you like that, left you broken? He don't break us, ever. When's the last time? When's the last time God has touched your life and it's left you feeling helpless? You can't name a time. So the thing to remember is that this struggle that you're facing, it's no different. This situation you're facing, it's no different. Your circumstance, that deal, it's no different. It's no different. Ask God for what it is that you really want. I'm gonna say that again. Ask God for what it is that you really want. If you say, Apostle, it's nothing I can do, good. I'm glad it's nothing that you can do in your situation, because that's the point where God can step in. If you say, Apostle, listen, it looked like this thing is about to kill me, I'm going to tell you, good. Because that's the moment where the miracle comes. When you are down to nothing, God is up to something. And sometimes getting down to nothing, it lies in that last little piece of being all the way vulnerable and raw with God. That's when you see him move. I don't know who this was for, but I encourage you. Uncover those layers that you've been hiding from yourself, that you've been hiding from God, concerning that circumstance that's been weighing you down. Some of y'all couldn't even sleep last night because you were so very burdened. Okay, you can, Mrs. James. Some of y'all couldn't even sleep last night, couldn't sleep good because you were that burdened. Some of y'all woke up this morning feeling even more burdened. Give it to God. Somebody tell your neighbor, give it to God. Give it to God. What's stressing about it gonna do? I had to tell myself that with my dog. T, what is you stressing about your dog gonna do? Not one thing. It's not gonna do nothing. 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 But what praying can do is praying can take the pressure off of you while you wait on God to touch that area. Come on. What praying can do is, it can eliminate the pressure the weight that you feel, the hopelessness, it can breathe life into you so that you can make it through until the end when God does touch, when you see the manifestation of his hand touching that area of your life. Give it to him. So that's it, man. I love y'all. I'm rooting for you guys. To those of you guys that feel led to sow, you absolutely can sow. One or two ways. You can sow via paypal.me/thoughtsbyt, or you can sow via paypal.me/thoughtsbyt. Listen, give it to God. How you doing? Give it to God. Give it to God. Whoever that is that needs to sow an honor seed, just obey. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Just obey. Just obey. So listen, if you need prayer for anything, if you have a testimony, you can send it to prayer.thoughtsbyt@gmail.com. We would love to pray with and for you and rejoice in what God does in and through your life. And so listen, I love y'all, man. I'm rooting for you guys. And so until next time, y'all, peace. And also the seed title, if you're sowing into this word, is Give It to God. Sabrina, I don't know what it is that you need to sow or if you need to tithe, but you need to obey God. You need to obey. I love y'all though, man. I'm rooting for you guys. And so until next time, y'all, peace. And God says, don't delay it, Sabrina.